Have you ever carried a backup and quietly wondered if it would work when your day turns ugly? What if your primary jams, slips out of reach, or simply isn't the tool you can get to right now? What if you're down to one hand? What if the distance is so close you can't get a clean presentation? What if the only gun you can access is the one you almost left at home because it felt inconvenient? That's the whole point of a backup gun in 2025. A last-layer pistol that earns its spot by being reliable, usable, and easy to live with. So here's my list of backup pistols that can save lives, built around real trends. Micro guns with real capacity, sights you can see, and calibers that people can control under stress. Which one fits your carry, your hands, and your reality? Let's count them down. Number 6. Smith & Wesson J-Frame Ultimate Carry. This one is for the hands are busy, space is gone kind of emergency. Small revolvers keep a weird advantage that semi-autos can't fully copy. There's no slide to push out of position. When a semi-auto gets pressed into something, it can lose the ability to fire. A J-frame doesn't have that failure mode, so it stays stubborn. The Ultimate Carry versions showed up in the 2024 to 2025 window because Smith & Wesson and Lipsy's looked at the classic snub-nose problems and started deleting them. The biggest fix is the sight picture. Instead of a shallow gutter and a prayer, you get a bold tritium front and a real rear notch that's actually dovetailed into the frame, meaning it's usable, durable, and replaceable. The grips also matter more than people admit. The VZG-10 high horn shape lets the hand sit higher, which helps tame a tiny revolver's snap without making it grab clothing. The caliber choice is the real 2025 twist. The 32 H&R Magnum version carries 6 rounds in the same footprint, where 38 Special usually gives 5, and many shooters find it easier to control for fast follow-ups. Reloads are still slower than magazines, and the long double-action trigger demands discipline. But when you want a backup that keeps working in the most physical, tangled situations, this little wheel gun is hard to argue with. Number 5. Glock 26 Gen 5 is the backup gun that acts like it thinks it's a duty pistol. It's thicker, heavier, and more belt gun than true pocket carry, and that's exactly why it makes the list. In Gen 5 form, you get the updated Glock Marksman barrel, the modern ND-LC finish, and the cleaner grip without finger grooves. It feels like a shrunken service pistol, not a novelty. Here's the life-saving logic. Magazine compatibility. If your primary is a Glock 17, 19, 45, or most other double-stack 9mm Glocks, the 26 can run those same magazines. Your backup doesn't live on a lonely 10-round island. It can tap into the mags you already carry. That's a real advantage in any scenario where time and options get limited. Shootability is the other half. That 3.43-inch barrel and thicker slide help the 26 handle 9mm without feeling wild. And the extra weight makes follow-up shots easier for a lot of shooters. Optics? There are MOS options if you want to keep your sighting system consistent with your main gun. The trade-off is concealment reality. At around 1.30 inches wide and nearly 20 ounces empty, it's usually an IWB or ankle rig choice, not a front pocket and forget gun. It also skips a standard light rail because it was never meant to be a mini-duty light host. That's fine if you want a backup gun that behaves like your main pistol. Same trigger style, same controls, the 26 is the classic answer. Number 4. Sig Sauer P365. The P365 is less a single pistol and more a platform that became a whole ecosystem. The reason it belongs on a backup gun list is the modular core. The fire control unit is the serialized gun, and the grip modules and slides become the configurable shell around it. That's a big deal for backup carry, because people's constraints change. Seasonal clothing, job requirements, even injuries. For 2025 backup gun duty, the 380 variant is the quiet hero. You're putting a softer cartridge into a microframe that was originally built around 9mm pressures. The result is a gun that many people shoot faster and more confidently because the recoil impulse is calmer and the slide tends to be easier to rack. That last part matters in the real world. Fine motor skills are not guaranteed on a bad day. And a pistol that's easier to run with tired hands can be a better save-my-life tool than a hotter caliber in a smaller, snappier gun. Capacity stays strong for the size. 10+1 standard, with options that climb higher depending on magazines. And optics-ready setups are common across the line. The trade-off is temptation. This platform makes it easy to chase modules and accessories instead of just carrying the gun. But if you want one backup system that can flex between deep concealment and more capable configurations without changing your overall manual of arms, the P365 family earns its spot. The Glock 42 is what happens when a company builds a 380 that feels like it was designed for actual hands, not just for marketing dimensions. It's still slim and light, around 12 ounces empty, but it shoots in a way that surprises people because the locked breech system and slightly larger frame smooth out the snap that ruins many pocket 380s. It sits closer to small pistol than tiny object, and that middle ground is exactly why it works. This is the backup gun I think about when someone says, I want something small, but I also want to hit what I'm aiming at. Yes, the capacity is old school, 6+1. But there's a reason the 42 keeps showing up in 2025 conversations, even while micro-compacts chase double-digit magazines. People tend to shoot it well. Under stress, a gun you can control is a gun you can use. It's also a friendly choice for newer shooters or anyone with weaker hands or joint issues. The recoil is mild enough that practice doesn't feel like punishment, and Glock's later production tuning has a reputation for feeding a wide range of ammo without being picky. If you already run Glock striker-fired guns, the 42 doesn't force a new manual of arms. The trade-off is size compared to the smallest pocket 380s, and a capacity ceiling you can't escape without extension. For a lot of real people, the trade is worth it. Number 2. Ruger LCP Max is the pocket gun minimalist who somehow learned to lift weights. Ruger looked at the old world of tiny 380s, 6 rounds, barely their sights, and said, cool, now let's cram real capacity into the same kind of footprint. And in practice, that's exactly what it feels like. 10+1 in a pistol barely over 5 inches long, with a slim slide profile, and an extended magazine that can push it to 12+1. Carry behavior is the real headline. The Max is built around the idea that a backup gun gets worn in uncomfortable places and pulled out under stress. The edges are rounded, the profile is de-snagged, and the whole gun is set up to survive pockets, ankle rigs, and summer carry without drama. Ruger also brought real sights into a category that used to treat sights as decoration, which changes how usable this gun is beyond across-the-room distances. Now the honesty. Small, light guns can feel snappy, and the LCP Max is often described that way. If you have a solid grip and you actually practice, it's manageable. If you're recoil sensitive, it can feel like a tiny firecracker. There are also real-world maintenance notes. Pocket guns live against sweat, lint, and humidity, and some finishes need more care than others to avoid surface rust. Still, for pure always-there carry with meaningful capacity in a true pocket size, the LCP Max remains a benchmark. Number 1. Smith & Wesson Bodyguard 2.0. Bodyguard 2.0 is the gun that feels like Smith & Wesson finally listened to 10 years of complaints and then redesigned the whole concept from scratch. The old Bodyguard 380 was everywhere, but it carried baggage, long trigger pulls, mushy feel, and features that sounded clever yet didn't always help in real hands. The 2.0 arrives as a true clean sheet rethink, and the biggest move is the switch to a striker-fired locked breech setup. That matters because it changes the personality of the pistol. The trigger becomes something you can actually work with, shorter, cleaner, more predictable, closer to a real pistol feel than classic pocket gun sponginess. The grip geometry also stops treating your hand like an afterthought. A deeper undercut and higher beaver tail let you ride higher on the gun, which mechanically reduces muzzle flip instead of demanding superhero grip strength. In a pistol under 10 ounces empty, that's huge. Then there's the 2025 standard, capacity and sights. You get 10+1 with a flush mag, 12+1 with an extended option. In a package under an inch thick, the front sight is built to be seen quickly, not just admired in bright daylight. Reliability reports often look strong after a short break-in, though tiny guns can still have tiny quirks, stiff magazine springs when new, or thumbs riding controls. Bottom line, for deep concealment with I can actually shoot this confidence, Bodyguard 2.0 is the pocket backup gun that defines the year. Before I wrap this up, a quick reality check. Every one of these is only as good as your safe handling, your legal compliance, and your willingness to confirm reliability with your carry ammo. A backup gun that never gets tested is just a talisman. If this list helped, Tell me what you carry as a backup gun and why you trust it. I read the comments like it's field data. And if you want more 2025 carry and gear breakdowns, practical, honest, and not sponsored by Cope, subscribe and I'll see you in the next one.